So today we're talking about becoming a better listener. And Tori and I just got back from kind of a marathon trip, Boston, then Cancun, then Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
So you haven't heard from us for a little bit, but we've had a lot of conversations.
We have, and it is really good to be home.
Oh,
There's
my gosh,
no place
yes.
like home.
Yeah, we ate out like every day for 10 days, and I'm just done.
It was really fun while it lasted, but we're ready to eat some like home-cooked healthy meals.
And so we've talked a lot about what we want to do for our next podcast. And I read a great article. Tori did too. Thank God for Doctors Les and Leslie Parrott. They've written a lot of marriage stuff.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Research, both of them just so crazy smart. They've got a whole staff of people. So I read this really great article on how to become a better listener. And it was very helpful.
It was very helpful.
To me and Tor. And we're going to end with 4 really strong questions that will help you in this category. But before we dive into that, Tori and I have this new favorite song for you.
So it's not really like a good love song because the message is kind of like weird.
It's about people that broke up.
It's about people who broke up. So this is not applicable to marriages, but it is the best, has the best tune, and it's the best song to dance to. Like
oh
you
my
and
gosh,
I, like if you know how to two-step, there's not a better two-step song, I don't think.
Oh gosh, yeah. Throw some Wranglers on, some Ropers, crumb rind belt buckle.
Or don't, and just
pearl snap shirt and a Stetson hat, and just do any dance you want to do. Okay, so this is what is it? Oh, Would If I Could by Ernest, who is awesome, and Lainey Wilson. So I'm just going to play the chorus. I can't play it too long because, like I said before, YouTube will kick us off.
So I guess you won't get to her because I love her voice is just like Dolly Parton. It's so cool.
It is, but you just have to listen to the song. Okay, What If I Could by Ernest and Lainey Wilson. Here you go. That is such a cool song. Heck yeah. Okay, well.
It's so good.
Yes. Well, I know that if anybody's going to dance to that song, I know it's going to be Thomas and Danielle Spezial. They will dance to it because they listen to every single song that we play and add it to their playlist. So thank you guys for that.
Add it, guys. Add it on.
Add it on. Okay, let's dive into this, and we're going to talk about becoming a better listener because better communication can lead you and your spouse to better love, and that's what we want, okay? And it all starts with listening. Chances are good that you've heard us talk about certain specific things that you can do to help you become a better listener. Like, let me give you a couple. Listen to respond, not to react.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. So to respond means you're actually thinking before you're speaking. Reacting is just speaking before you're thinking. Right. So the goal is I need to listen to respond. Like I need to actually think about this before I respond. Like if I say this thing, how's that going to affect my spouse?
Right. Reacting is just being on defense, like how to kind of protect yourself. Yeah.
So you want to listen to respond, not to act. Another thing you've probably heard is you don't want to interrupt each other while they're speaking. Like that is very simple. And you know what? There's nothing.
But yet so hard.
Oh my gosh. There's nothing more frustrating, honestly, than I guess the only thing that would be more frustrating than being interrupted yourself is hearing somebody talk to another person and all they're doing is interrupting.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting cow.
Interrupting
Moo.
cow. Boom. I walked right into that one.
Mic drop.
Haven't you done that one before?
I don't know. It was just perfect. It was good timing.
When we started our podcast, I think Tori was the joke person. Like she always came up with good jokes. Mm-hmm. That was a good one. Good job. Yeah, just don't interrupt each other. How about this? Try not to spend so much energy formulating a response so that you miss what your spouse is saying. That is a big deal.
Yeah. So you're just thinking, your mind is just turning the whole time about what you're going to say and you don't hear a word of what they say.
Yeah. Yeah. And Tori can tell when I'm in the middle of doing that. Mm-hmm. She's like, just listen to what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. I like to say, You need to seek to understand before being understood.
Mm-hmm.
Like you really got to do it. And we've done a couple podcasts on that. So you need to go back and listen to those.
But this is really hard to do in the heat of a battle, like a heated discussion, right? Because you're just so passionate. There's so much emotion involved. And that's why I think it's so important sometimes to just take a break.
Yeah.
Because it's sometimes like real heated discussions. Honestly, you do need a little break to kind of come down from it. Or you're just flooded with so much emotion that it's like this cycle of doing these things.
Yeah.
That's going nowhere.
You got to remember the 20-minute rule. If you're feeling flooded, which is your heart rate is elevated and you start to feel hot in the head, you need at least 20 minutes to come down. So observe that. Another thing that you want to do is you want to engage in active listening. So that's where you actually reflect back what your spouse said to make sure that you understand.
Mm-hmm.
That is actually a really good thing to reflect back. Now, don't use the cliche-ish quote.
What I'm hearing you say.
What I'm hearing you say is if you do that, just you deserve to get slapped in the face.
Well, yeah.
It's better to just be like genuine. Like, okay, so this is what I think you're saying, but you need to correct me if I'm not getting this right. You're telling me that I need a new life. Basically, that's what you're saying.
What you're telling me is that you really don't like me anymore.
Yeah. So that's active listening. Another little piece of advice before we get into the main crux of what's going to help us be a better listener is actively practicing empathy while you get to the root of the problem. So that one's a really good one. Remember, sympathy is seeing the drowning person and throwing them a life preserver. Empathy is jumping in the water.
Yeah.
So empathy is a willingness to suffer alongside. So if your spouse is trying to communicate to you, but they're having a hard time, specifically, we men, when we're listening and our wives are verbally processing, we might be thinking, okay, I got the answer. Let me just hurry up and get to it. But that's not a wise thing for you to do at that moment. You need to let her talk through it and process through it. And you've got to be empathetic during that time and just put yourself in her shoes and let her work her way through it. It's a really good thing. So that's empathy. Now, these are all good and important components of being a good listener, but there's another skill that's going to make you a better listener, and it's going to radically improve your communication, and this is what we're going to focus on right now. It is all about creating an emotional safety zone for your spouse. Now, we've talked about this a few times before.
Yeah.
Emotional safety, where your spouse feels safe to open themselves up to you.
Yeah. And I think we've talked about this several times, but the first time that we heard the term emotional safety is after Google did this huge research where they spent millions of dollars and they investigated all the teams at Google, and it was over the course of over a year. And basically they were trying to decide, they were trying to see which teams were the strongest and why. And the team that was the strongest and the most successful was the one that exercised emotional safety. And then they explained that emotional safety is like the ability of each team member to be themselves without fear of rejection.
Yeah.
And so that was just really, that was the first time we heard it. And we're like, well, as a married couple, we want to make the best team, right? We want to understand what this is. And so we've kind of been learning more about emotional safety, what that looks like. And then this article came out, and it's really good. It helps break it down. It
is a communication superpower. It's where you basically feel safe to speak your mind in love. So that means that your spouse has done a good job of creating emotional safety. Now, sometimes one spouse will create emotional safety for the other, but then the other spouse is not creating it for their spouse, which that's a problem. You both need to create emotional safety, because when you feel emotionally safe, that's when you can fully engage. If you don't feel emotionally safe, you will withdraw.
Right.
Okay. At that point, you're in greater risk for communication meltdown, and that will break down your relationship. So you don't want to do that. Now, here's why I thought it would be really cool for us to do a podcast on this, because they asked 4 questions, and Tori and I actually went through this, and we asked each other these questions.
They were really helpful to go through together.
Yeah, to create emotional safety. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through these questions, and we're going to...
Just the fact that we set our mind on emotional safety, like I actually felt really safe talking to you about this when we did, because it's like you were talking about emotional safety. We had just like kind of like explained what it was, and we're like, okay, so now we're going to ask some questions. And I think
Yeah.
just like setting your intent on, okay, we're going to be emotionally safe here. Nothing's
Yeah.
off limits. I'm not going to be defensive. I'm not going to take offense to anything that
Right.
you say. This is an emotionally safe zone. It was just like, it was really cool. I felt like we made some headway today,
Yeah.
just doing it ourselves.
So when I'm asking these questions to her, if you give the wrong answer, I'm not talking to you the rest of the night.
Okay.
Okay. Do you feel safe now? No, maybe not so
I'm
much.
withdrawing.
You're withdrawing? Okay, so I just did the opposite of creating an environment of emotional safety. We all know that. Listen, you can't, if you're going to create emotional safety for your spouse, you cannot operate out of your insecurity. Okay, so insecurity means in need of security. You need to find your security in God.
Yeah.
Okay, and recognize that He's got your back. So you need to create emotional safety for your spouse and not operate out of insecurity. Be secure in who you are. And then let's go through and let's ask these questions. Okay, here are 4 questions that are going to help you. And this is what we would like for you to ask your spouse. So you can write these down, or you can just fast forward this and listen to this with your spouse, like before you go to bed or whatever. And you guys talk about these 4 questions and see how it helps you create an environment of emotional safety. Okay, question number 1. Tor, I'm going to ask you first.
Okay.
And then I'm going to answer it. Okay. What tends to make you nervous or uncomfortable in conversation? Now, let me repeat it. So if anybody's writing it down, what tends to make you nervous or uncomfortable when we're talking with each other, like in conversation?
Yeah.
So you answer first.
Okay. So the first thing that came to mind for me, and it's not nervous, it's uncomfortable, is when I'm trying to share something with you that's deep and meaningful to me, and I feel like you're not listening. It's like I'm being vulnerable. I'm putting myself out there, and also I'm taking the time to explain this to you, in the middle of a busy day. And then if I don't feel like you're all there with me, it makes me feel really uncomfortable.
Hey, can you just repeat what you said? Because I wasn't listening.
Wait, what?
I totally missed everything you just said. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. That was really good though, right?
Oh, you're funny.
Yeah. No, I have a bad habit of, in the middle of Tori talking, I just, I don't know, I'll notice something. I'm like, wow,
moments.
Yeah. Like, your hair looks great. Looks really good. She's like, wait, you're not listening to what I'm saying.
Or you'll like say a joke or something, and I'm like,
yeah.
Focus.
Yeah, I need to fix that. Okay, so let's turn this around. Flip this around, because I'm ready to roast you. Okay, this isn't just about you getting me.
Bring it. I'm feeling strong.
Okay,
today.
so what makes me nervous or uncomfortable in conversation would be if you question me too much. So obviously, you know that. Like, if you ask me a question and I answer it.
Yeah. That makes me feel really bad, because I feel like you feel like you get in trouble.
Yeah, which is actually going to my number 2.
Yeah. Which just, it does make me feel bad. I'm gonna work on this.
Okay, so but if like specifically for Tor, if she answers, or if she asks me a question about something and then I answer it, and then she'll ask it a different way and I'll answer it. She'll ask it a different way and I'll answer it. And then at some point I'm like, either you don't trust what I have just said to you, or you're not hearing what I'm saying. And I think it would probably lean more towards the first, especially early on in marriage.
Yeah.
As you're learning and you're trusting each other and all that kind of stuff, you're building trust.
Well, I think that you're so good verbally. Sometimes I'm like, wait, do you really mean what you're saying here? Or are you just like talking so fast that I'm not understanding?
I'm like, no, we really did land on the moon. 1969. You're like, what do you mean by moon?
Define moon.
Okay, so that's the first one. What tends to make you nervous or uncomfortable in conversation? Okay, ask your spouse that. You guys both take turns and answer it and really get deep on it. So Tori and I, obviously, we went real fast on that. But when we were talking about it, we took our time and thought about it. And then Tori's like, okay, so why would it make you feel that way if I question you? And I was like, well, I think it's because it makes me feel like you don't trust me, kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah. And also I am a very curious person. Like we were even talking to your dad about this in the car. Like he was talking about Lundy was asking all these questions, and he was like, that she's just like you. She has so many questions. She has to like understand it to the very core.
Yeah.
And so I know that can, even though my heart is not actually like questioning you or feeling like you're not being trustworthy, it's actually like I'm seeking understanding at a deeper level. And I do realize that it comes across as not trusting you, which feels like disrespect.
Yeah. So what would create emotional safety in that moment is if Tori really does have a follow-up question or whatever, she could say, okay, so I'm not questioning you.
Mm-hmm.
I just want further clarification.
Yeah.
And then boom, ask it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then boom, that creates emotional safety. I said boom twice, which is pretty cool. Okay. But anyway, let's go to question number 2. All right. Tor, this is for you. I'm going to ask it twice for anyone who's writing it down. Are there certain topics or scenarios that make you feel shut down?
Yes.
So are there certain topics or scenarios that make you feel shut down?
Scenarios, I would say. And it's when you are like bulldozing, when you're just kind of like, take charge, let's get this thing done. And I don't feel, I don't know. I just tend to shut down and kind of go with the flow a little bit, but it does sometimes shut me down a little bit.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Like an example that would not be embarrassing is like we're in the airport and you are like a drill sergeant. You know exactly how we can get in and out of there fast. Like you're super efficient. You have everything, like you have a plan, and like you know exactly the way things should be done, and you kind of expect me and the kids to follow that leadership, and you're like, why don't you have your everything out and ready and your shoes off, and like what's coming, like and so like I notice myself just kind of like shutting down a little bit. Like I have to kind of like zone you out because I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And I do think some people have bulldozer mentality when it comes to communication.
But you have, because of self-awareness, I feel like you are a different person. Like this last time you let me just do my thing, and you were sweet and you were kind, and you know what? I didn't shut down.
Yeah. I think you understood whenever I told you that being at the airport is not the time for amateur hour. I think that's what did it for you.
That just like strengthened me. It was like, I got this.
Yeah. I'm watching that dude 3 people up with his wallet still in his pocket, and he's walking up to the TSA, and it's like, pull your wallet out of your pocket, homie. Get it out. Get it ready.
It's so funny.
Okay. That's bad. But anyway, certain topics or scenarios that make me feel shut down. I think mine would be if I feel like I'm going to get in trouble for what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
Like no matter what I say, I'm probably going to get in trouble. If I ever feel like crap, I'm going to get in trouble. Not now, if I did something wrong, of course, then I should be in trouble. Yeah. I'm just talking about in general. If the way that you would ask me the question or the way that you would talk to me would make me feel like I'm in trouble for something, then I know that I start to shut down. Yeah. And I do think that some men feel that way. So I think it's important. Yeah.
I feel like you have been super coachable in our marriage. Like you're pretty open for correction, like for things that you want me to tell you. But at the same time, I think because you come across like you can take it, sometimes I take it like to the extreme where I'm like, hey, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
That's funny. Okay. So that's question number 2. Here's question number 3. Tori Garland Canador Benham III. Which she's not the third, by the way.
Okay, keep going.
You're my first wife.
Wait,
you're my first and only wife. I want to dig deeper into that. Okay, question number 3. What times of day are not good for you when it comes to having an important conversation?
I think this is so important.
This is good.
I wish that we had answered this question before we got married or right at the beginning of our marriage. It would have saved us a little bit of, I don't know, I wouldn't say turmoil, but...
Let me ask it again, since there are probably some people writing it down. What times of day are not good for you when it comes to having an important conversation?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's pretty obvious for what time of day I don't do too well. What do you think it is?
Anytime before 11 o'clock.
11 a.m.?
11 a.m., yeah.
That's
Can't
not
do
entirely true. I would say before 9.
Okay, before 9 a.m.
Yeah, Jason is a morning person.
Well, I mean, I'm ready.
He is ready to roll.
But so for me, mine would be evening. So anytime after 9 o'clock.
I'm a night owl, so I'm like, let's talk.
So anytime after 9 o'clock.
This has been an adjustment for both of us.
It took us a long time to figure that one out. But Tori realized that when she would talk to me after 9-ish, which I'm better at it now. So, but anyway.
He told me my voice is a lullaby.
It is. It's like she would be talking and she could be saying, honey, what do you think we should do about Lundy School? And all I'm hearing is, go to sleep, go to sleep, Go to sleep, little Jason. Like you're singing a lullaby and it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So we don't talk too late at night.
Didn't we hear
don't
about
talk too early in the morning?
Didn't we hear about a husband falling asleep one time and his wife punched him in the face while he was asleep?
Yes.
We really did. Oh my gosh. That would be bad.
That was pretty rock star.
Well, that's better than, I think I'd rather you punch me in the face, I think, than what we did experience with Jake when he is sleepwalking and he's peeing on our bed.
Oh my.
Was he peeing on our bed? What was he peeing on? It might have been the closet door.
Yeah, no, Jake had a lot of
had a lot of issues.
A lot of sleepwalking going on in the middle of the night, and it was terrifying to me.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I fully watched the movie Chucky.
Oh my gosh, Child's Play.
But I saw clips of it, and that was enough to when you were out of town, especially, and he would come in like sleepwalk. Anyways.
Okay, moment of truth. You know you're a parent if your kid crawls in bed with you in the middle of the night, and then halfway through the night you wake up and he has or she has completely urinated all over the bed, and you're so tired that you just get up, get a towel, put it down on the bed, and lay right back down.
Call it a night.
Call it a night. You're a parent.
Yes, that is true.
That happened a couple times, I got to admit.
Yeah. Sheer exhaustion.
Oh, let's get back to this question. So it's not good for Tori in the morning. It's not good for me at night. So guess what we have to do? Especially when our kids, were a little bit younger. We had to figure out a way, like, to have a conversation about something deep.
I think when the kids were little, it'd have to be like after dinner at some point, definitely before 8:00, and you were drifting.
Yeah. Well, what Tori and I would do is, especially when our kids were really young, we would do dinner and then we would like walk our kids to a little park or something. And when the kids are running around like crazy, so long as they're not like 1.5, like 18 months old and you have to be hands on. If they're a little bit older than that, then you can have a conversation just so long as they're contained inside that playground.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, we discovered that, noonish, leading up to sometime after dinner is the best time for us to talk.
Little lunch break date.
Yeah. So that's important. Okay, so let me give you the last question. And this is really important. All right. If you're feeling upset or agitated in the moment, like when we're talking, if you're feeling upset or agitated, what would be the best thing for me to do? Like, what would you want me to do the minute I'm noticing that you're feeling upset or agitated?
I would like some space.
Yeah.
I just need a little bit of time.
Like, how much time are we talking about?
I guess it depends on the situation. But, I mean, if it's like really, if I'm really overwhelmed and like frustrated, then I don't know. It could be 20 minutes. It could be an hour, and tell me to just take some time. I know when the kids were little, every once in a while we'd be like, okay, I'm just going to run to the store by myself.
Yeah.
I need that quiet time in the car right there and the quiet back, and let me just
do what you do.
Regroup for a
minute. And then by the time you get home, if I've washed the dishes and done the laundry, we're good to go.
Yeah. Definitely if you jump in to help. So it's like space, and then if you were to jump in to kind of alleviate some of whatever pressure I'm feeling, that's super helpful.
Okay.
How about you?
Good to know. Okay, so obviously space. So if I'm feeling agitated or upset or whatever, the space is important. Like, just don't pry, don't keep digging. And I do think that when we were first married, probably first 10 years, you were very bad at that in terms of, wait, what? And you would kind of dig and pry. And I'm like, all right, I'm good right now. Like,
back up.
And I think so long as you know that we're going to come back to it, I don't think you knew that to start. But once I established, okay, I'm willing to talk with you about it, but I just don't want to talk about it right now.
Yeah.
So let's come back to it. And then the best thing to do to soften me up, I told you this earlier, is some type of physical touch. Like, you come up, give me a hug, or grab my hand or whatever. For some reason, that just kind of breaks down a wall.
I think that calms your nervous system really well for some reason.
Yeah, we did a podcast on that once, didn't we?
Yeah, that touch does, regulate your nervous system. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's something that really helps you to kind of calm down, chill out. Yep.
Okay, so there we go. There's 4 questions that you can ask with your spouse and do that exercise that will help you grow in emotional safety. Now, question number 1, what tends to make you nervous or uncomfortable in conversation? Question 2, are there certain topics or scenarios that make you feel shut down? Number 3, what times of day are not good for you when it comes to having important conversations? And question number 4, if you're feeling upset or agitated, what would be the best thing for me to do?
Yep.
That's really
These
going
are
to help
good. We gave you guys some more questions to ask. I feel like these questions have been really helpful for us.
I like exercises. That's good stuff. Okay, what do you got for us?
Okay, so for a recipe for you guys, Jason and I were in Cancun, and at the resort that we were staying at, all I got throughout the entire week were virgin skinny mojitos.
And I think you actually ordered it. Can I have the skinny virgin mojito, which is no sugar, no alcohol?
Okay, you guys, so refreshing. They are amazing. And so I've decided that that's going to be my drink of choice this summer. And it's so healthy because it's just a ton of lime juice and fresh mint leaves and like club soda or some kind of seltzer soda. And didn't you think it was so good?
Yeah, but it all depends on who made it.
Yeah,
because there's some that were good and some that didn't taste so good.
Yeah, that is true. There was only one time that they messed it up, and that was one of the 2 times you drank it. So
yeah,
I loved them. So, anyways, my friend and I were at a little boutique in Davidson today, and they had these they're called muddler. I think that's what it's called. And it's what you use to make a mojito. And I was like, no way.
What do you smash the thing up with?
Yeah, it's like this long, wooden thing with like grooves on the bottom so that you can mash it into your cup.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, I think that thing is necessary. That's what they used that's why I bought it, because I was like, no way. They're called muddler.
Okay.
So you just take some lime juice. I think that at the resort, it was super limey. So I think that they had like pre-squeezed lime juice that they poured in on top of a whole lime that they would cut up and mash with the wood muddler with like 6 mint leaves. So that you put the mint leaves and then the cut up lime, mash it down really good so like all the oils get out, right?
Yep.
And then add a little bit. I think they added even more lime juice. And then you just pour the seltzer, or they use club soda on top of it with a ton of ice, so it's ice cold.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that's so healthy for you.
So are you going to do this and put it on?
Yep. So I'm going to make it and show you how it's done. And you guys should drink it with us all summer long.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. By the way, Tori and I discovered on Hulu, there is a show. It's actually a docuseries, true crime, is Sherry Papini.
Yes.
Story.
You guys, some of you would remember. I totally remember this. I don't know how many years ago. Wasn't it 2017?
I think when it first happened.
Okay, so back in 2017.
You're not going to do a spoiler alert.
No, back in Redding, California, there was a young mom with 2 kids that went running and went missing. And then 21 days later, she showed up with her hair cut off, totally banged up, holes in her skin, a rash all over. I mean, like destroyed. Her body was beaten to a pulp. It was so sad.
Yeah.
And there was just like so many people praying that she would, return. And anyways, I've always been curious, because when she came back and she was found, she went silent and we never heard like what happened. She just said that there were 2 Mexican women that had her confined for 21 days, that they branded her, and they showed on the news like the branding on her back. And anyways, I was just been so curious, and just yesterday we found out that there is a series that is explaining how everything went down.
Yeah. And you know what? It took a lot to get. So Tori and I, you can laugh at us all you want, but we never watched Prison Break ever.
Yeah.
And I know that came out in 2005. So Tori and I, it's funny, right at the beginning of the summer, we're like, let's make the summer of 24 Prison Break summer.
Yeah.
So all this summer, we're watching every episode of Prison Break. And in the middle of Prison Break, we decided to take a break to watch Sherry Papini.
Yep. So anyways, we're halfway through, guys. And
it's pretty rocking.
It is a pretty crazy story.
Oh, let me say this too. So my brother and I are looking at doing a mastermind type thing for dudes, only 15 guys, at our lake house in Lake Norman in mid-September. And I don't have a page up. I don't have a link or anything. But if you're interested in it, go to just email my assistant, Deb. So Deb@benhamcompanies.com. If you're interested, I already got people reaching out that want a spot. But it's just dudes. And we're going to have fun, and we're going to have a chef, and it's going to be cool, and it's going to be stuff that's going to be focused in on your work. It's going to be focused in on finances. It's going to be focused on fitness and your relationships.
And this lake house is gorgeous.
Oh, it's banging.
It is amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun.
So what is it,
Deb@benhamcompanies.com, and then pretty soon we'll have a link for you to sign up. Again, first 15. So, all right. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us. This is fun, Tora. I like the whole mojito thing.
Yeah. Oh, let's make one right now. You want to go make it, and you can help film it.
That makes me feel emotionally safe.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Peace.